the Sprout Man, Steve Meyerowitz.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here on broccoli sprouts. So, you know, there's a plant compound in broccoli that stops the growth of cancerous tumors. They're called glucosinolates, a phytochemical. And this glucosinolates, when you measure the broccoli sprouts that are only 5 days old, but they are green. Last night's talk, cancer patient showed me their broccoli sprouts. And they were just the seed with the tail coming out of them. You can't get the glucosinolates unless there's a green leaf. So you wait for the shoot to come up and the leaf to split open and get green. And now you've got the glucosinolates. The broccoli sprout, the 5-day-old plant, versus the same seedling put in your backyard, you growing it organically, but waiting till 65 days later. The broccoli sprout has 50 to 100 times more of the glucosinolates than that same seedling when it's 65 days old. 5 days versus 65 days. And that's not me talking through my hat. It's me telling you about the study. One of the many studies. There have been several studies on this. You know, anything that's good for cancer gets a little more research money. And this was done by Johns Hopkins University's Jed Fahey. The brassica family in general, by the way, has a lot of glucosinolates. So if you know somebody that has cancer, they should go heavy on the brassicas. That would be broccoli, kale, collards, cabbage, radish. Radish, vitamin A, pro-vitamin A in the plant kingdom. If you take that radish sprout and you plant that seedling in your backyard, organically grown, it's going to have 13 international units of provitamin A. But if you measure that seedling after 5 days of age, of sprouting, it has 391. It's about a 40-time increase in the baby vegetable. And during this point, this is when, usually at the first leaf division, when that leaf comes up and divides, at that point, that's usually the peak of the plant's nutrient density. In other words, this vegetable will never have more vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals in it ever again. It maxes out at that point. And that point is anywhere between 5 and 12 days on average for all the things that we grow. And I have these fancy reel charts here, which have 33 different varieties of things that I recommend that are easy to grow. Plain old alfalfa sprouts. Anybody ever notice when you soak it, the water gets kind of sudsy? You know, those are saponins. Those are the things that are part of soap making. But the saponins in alfalfa sprouts, they have been shown to lower cholesterol in tests. They actually lower triglycerides, they lower the LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, the lousy cholesterol. They lower homocysteine. They raise HDL, or H for happy cholesterol. There are studies, again, you can see it in my book, of alfalfa helping heart patients suffering from arteriosclerosis. So, I mean, something we can grow in a week in our kitchen can be used as a medicine. That's my point. These things are just like herbs, you know. And if you're not in your raw food kitchen, let's face it, you're out there and you still have to eat, and choices have to be made. And who among us always makes perfect choices? Right? My diet is not immaculate. I have been, a 100%er a lot of times for a lot of years, and especially when I was younger and life was more simple. But I think all of us have to accept that there is a reality, and that we're going to be faced with making choices every day about what we put in our bodies. And we have to just do the best job we can. But having said that, if you are struggling with terminal illness, then we're playing with a whole different deck of cards. All right? Now, we've got to be 100%. We stop the traveling and get to put ourselves in an environment where we turn our food into our medicine 100% of the time, because we're running out of time. So on this first page over here, you see the round grower in the middle of the page, right? And you have that. You see greens growing out of the round grower. The round grower in the middle of the page, the automatic sprouter. It says, are you lacking one of these now? I'm so psychic. Did you see how I caught that? There you go. So that is an automatic sprouter. But what's more important about it that I want to tell you is that is a vertical grower. So again, I do this kind of prayer-like thing where the food comes up like that and the plant opens up. That's how vegetables grow in the backyard. This is how we want to grow them in the kitchen garden. But that's not what you're used to seeing in a jar, right? A jar has kind of a jumbled look. If you open up this, it's almost as good as my slideshow. If you open up this to this page over here, when you see the sprout bag, you see in that picture they're all jumbled, and right, that's not okay if you've got green leaves. If you've got green leaves, you want the first page over. You see the grass growing on the first page. Grass is growing straight. You would never imagine grass growing jumbled, right? That's not the way it grows in nature. So we have to replicate this. So we have two kinds of growers that you need to consider. One is the vertical grower, and one is the jumbled grower. You with me? The jumbled grower is for things that are bean sprouts or grain sprouts. These are things with a tail on them. Not green leaves. Beans with a tail. Mung beans, chickpeas, lentils, green peas, and grains. We have to always look for balance. And too much nuts and seeds. One of the big problems I have with a lot of what's put out there for under the raw foods banner is that people are overdoing things like almonds and sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds. And I'll tell you, if you want to do it right, eat them in their shell. Right? Because we have, what we have going now is you can go to the bulk bins in Whole Foods and all the health food stores, and you can scoop out a pound of almonds and take them home, and then you scoop your hand in them, right? You toss them in your mouth, and this is not the way nature designed it. Nature was forcing you to crack open the shell of each and every one of those nuts. And you're not going to eat a scoopful if you've got to do that work. You're going to eat, a dozen, and then call it quits. And that's the right amount. Anything beyond that, hard to digest. Right? If it's hard to digest, then guess what? You're not getting the nutrients from that expensive organic almonds, and organic almonds cost a lot of money. Right? And the other problem we have is the automatic nut butter machines, right? We buy nut butters. We buy almond butter in a jar, right now, or peanut butter, right? You know, Americans are scooping that peanut butter in and lathering it on the bread. There's almost more peanut butter than there is bread, right? Well, what is that? That could be like 80 peanuts. That's not good. That's not easy for your digestion. So, you know, we got to take a step back and look at all this. All the studies on longevity show that low-calorie diets, people who eat small amounts, live longer.